Good morning, everyone. Today's program begins with a question, so I'm going to turn the microphone over to Jeremiah.
My question is, how have the problems and issues that you've seen in people changed over the 30 years that you've been on the radio?
That's a really good question. Let's see what I can come up with here. When I started 30 years ago on Personal Growth Radio, KEST in San Francisco, there was a lot of response. Now, admittedly, it was Personal Growth Radio, so that personal issues and growth and finding confidence and success and things like that. That's why people were listening to the station, because that's what the station was all about. And admittedly, I was on at a good time. I think it was 11 or 11:30 in the morning on a weekday. I think 3 times a week. Nevertheless, it's crystal clear to me that there was more response. Now, I'm better than ever. My message is more cogent, to the point. I have more experience, but the response is very, very little. Very, very, very little. And I can only presume that people are more sleepwalking. People are more in a trance, lost in thinking, lost in music. And I think that's one reason. People today are less responsive because people today have been degraded. Most people have been degraded at school, at home, by the media, by the food, the culture. They've been degraded, and so they sense that they're not living life as it should be. They're not living their own life, and it's too painful to see. And so they retreat into the mind, into the imagination, into daydreams, into worrying and planning, and into their distractions and their texting and their music. They retreat away from awareness into a hypnotic trance, and they walk around at some level of hypnotic trance. And when a person is in a hypnotic trance, they can't do a reality check. And when they're in a trance, they're separated from the type of consciousness which is amenable and compatible with intuition, with wisdom, with spiritual light. And so they need to wake up. And today, people, because they've been degraded, have fallen into the hypnotic trance. And so they're not as responsive to someone like me, unless I can, or someone like me, can help to wake them up. And if my words wake them up, then all of a sudden they're out of the trance and they're able to partake of spiritual light and to see and realize solutions to their problems and no longer feel like they're lost down in this dark nightmare in which they live. They're back in reality. It's like coming up from under the ocean. You know, if you deep under the ocean, come up to the surface, and then your head comes above the water, and there you are. You see the blue sky and the puffy clouds, and it's beautiful. And so people need to wake up. But unless they wake up, they continue their sleepwalking. And that's the reason why today many people are not as responsive as they were when I first started 30 years ago.